What's good, YouTube? As many of you have seen, in June of this year, the Migos have broken up, as Offset is pursuing a solo career away from Quality Control Music, the label the Migos are signed to. In this video, I'm going to go over how Lil Baby's emergence, starting in 2017, drove a wedge between Offset, the Migos, and Quality Control Music. In the Migos' early days, they were first signed to Gucci Mane. However, in April of 2014, Gucci got sentenced to time in prison. Once they found this out, the Migos expressed to Gucci that they wanted to continue their career without him since he couldn't help them while he was doing his bid. Shortly after, Gucci put his best friend Pierre P. Thomas and his former manager Coach K together to continue the Migos' career. P would be the investor and the CEO, and Coach K would be the COO who knew the music industry in and out. P and Coach K would go on to create Quality Control Music with the Migos as their first act. In 2013, the Migos really started making their first waves in the mainstream after Drake hopped on their Versace remix. In 2014, they started reaching even greater levels with the hit records Fight Night and Look at My Dab. Up until P got involved with the Migos in 2014, he had invested in other artists previously under his label Dirty Dollar Entertainment, but none of them were a success, as he admitted in an interview with Genius. By 2016, Quality Control was the biggest independent record label in the music industry and would soon after sign big acts such as Lil Yachty and the City Girls, who would make a large impact in their own right. By 2017, the Migos would go on to be a commercial hit with their #1 record Bad and Bougie and #1 album Culture. Both Culture and Bad and Bougie would go on to influence hip-hop and hip-hop culture for years beyond release. Simultaneously in 2017, a young dope boy from Atlanta named Dominique Jones was released from prison and began seeking a new life, later taking the stage name Lil Baby. Lil Baby had always grown up around P and Coach K, often hanging around their studio with Young Thug, the Migos, and Lil Yachty. However, he previously was too caught up in the streets to focus on a rap career, although everyone in the circle encouraged him to do so. But until he was arrested, he didn't care about pursuing any career like that. After being released from prison, Lil Baby would decide to take rap seriously. In 2017, Lil Baby would go on to sign to Quality Control Music and drop 4 mixtapes. From the beginning, P was boots on the ground with Lil Baby. Every project he released kept getting bigger and bigger, and P knew that he was an opportunity of a lifetime. We can see from the Lil Baby Untrapped documentary, real footage in 2017 of P traveling with Lil Baby everywhere he went to help break him. From the Migos' perspective, they were the biggest cash cows at QC at that time, and the first act to put the label on the map, let alone create cash flow for them to be able to invest in another artist like Lil Baby. This is where the resentment started to kick in, especially in Offset. From P's perspective, he did what any smart businessman would do. He knew that music artists don't last forever, but a label could if they assemble a roster of talent, so he began diversifying. As the years went on, Lil Baby kept getting bigger and bigger. P's instinct and business moves were proving to be right. Offset and the Migos began to continue to grow more resentful of what they were seeing with Lil Baby, as he became Atlanta's biggest superstar. He was getting the attention they once got, built off of the resources that they originally were a product of and helped shape. Fast forward to February of 2020, and Lil Baby would go on to release the biggest album of the year, My Turn, which held the #1 spot on the charts for 5 weeks. Around the release of My Turn, it was reported that Offset and Lil Baby's crew, 4PF, got into a scrap about unknown matters. However, at that time, we know Lil Baby had successfully sold 197,000 units in the first week of the album's release and had officially become a superstar. Offset's resentment and disdain of Lil Baby was becoming more apparent. In June of 2020, Lil Baby again became even bigger by releasing The Bigger Picture, one of the most impactful records of the decade. This record at the time was Lil Baby's highest charting song of his career and made so much noise that the Migos were even asked about it in an interview with Peter Rosenberg. When Rosenberg asked the Migos about the impact of The Bigger Picture, the Migos shrugged off the answer, disgusted at the thought of speaking on Lil Baby. Not long after, in July of 2020, the Migos filed a lawsuit against QC's lawyer Damian Granderson for malpractice and wrongful compensation, claiming that QC was profiting more off of their music than industry standard. Shortly after, the lawsuit was settled privately. I don't think that the timing of this all was a coincidence. The resentment was building, and the Migos wanted to find some way to get even. In 2020, I actually was so fascinated with the situation that I followed it very closely on Instagram to see who was really being upset by this whole thing. The first thing I noticed way back then was that Offset unfollowed P, Coach K, and Lil Baby. This was a clear sign of who didn't like who. The next thing I looked at was who Lil Baby was following. The only Migo Lil Baby followed back then, and still does today, is Takeoff. And P follows everybody but Offset. What I can infer based on these findings is that Takeoff was never the issue. I believe Quavo was resentful at first, but then cooled off over time as he's still with QC today. However, I believe Offset was the one that was most resentful of Lil Baby becoming a big-time star and was willing to cut ties over it. In August of 2022, Offset alone filed a lawsuit against QC to get off the label and pursue his solo career. Based on all of the previous events discussed in this video, we can see how Lil Baby's come up created resentment in the Migos, most specifically Offset, and contributed to his decision to sue the label. The Migos successfully came up, with QC taking the risk by putting money and resources behind them, while at the same time using the formula they created together to put more artists on like Lil Baby. The Migos got exactly what they wanted, and P did the smart thing any businessman would do over time by taking that extra capital and investing it into more emerging talent. Lil Baby blew up, the Migos became resentful, and things spiraled out of control for a while. Today, Quavo and Takeoff both seem to be grateful for what P helped them achieve, and are still with the label as a duo. However, Offset seems to have something to prove to the world. He unfollowed everybody in that circle and is starting over from zero. Only time will let us know how this plays out. But what do you all think? If you were Offset, would you be upset? Let me know in the comments down below, like and subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.